Good morning, everybody. What's going on? It's Friday, December 4th. Happy Friday, first of all. Just a little bit after 7 a.m., and we see Bitcoin sliding all the way to a low of about 18,700 just an just an hour ago or so. So let's see exactly what the damage is, and what we should be looking forward to for the rest of the day. Okay. So on the 15-minute basis, all right, we've obviously broken down from the pivot and we sold off quite aggressively last night. Like I said, all the way to a low of 18,700. Additionally, we did break below this trend line right here that I was watching. So not a good sign. And this is once again sort of a reasoning and a testament to what I was saying yesterday was I am looking for a reason to long, and I want Bitcoin to show me those reasons and show me those reasons with confidence. And so this movement I was pretty excited about, pretty pumped about, but I was hoping that get me above this level, hold right here, and then we can start talking about movements up here and 20,000 and beyond. As you can see, that obviously didn't happen. We had a break of the trend line right here yesterday night, and then consistent rejections right there at the trend line. Once again, this trend line comes from that $16,200 low that we put in several days back. And now we're pulling back once more. All right. So currently hovering around the S1 pivot. Okay. Not a whole lot going on here. If we look at the trading light, let's just say we zoom into the footprint data here. I just want to make sure that there are not some aggressive longs, really stepping up, because it's possible then that this could be the bottom. So let's see. Okay, so there was some aggressive longing right there and right there. So I don't know. You typically want to see bottoms being created right in this area, with heavy selling, where you see, this kind of selling down here and down here, and then price starts to reverse to the upside. But the fact that we're not seeing that, I don't know. We might have another low to put in. Okay, so maybe another slight move to the downside. Yeah, I'm not really feeling this right now. It's possible that this is a temporary bottom. Maybe we test this area once more, clean up some of these, aggressive longs, and then push our way out. But I don't think at present moment, I don't think we're just going to rocket back up. Okay. Because I think we have possibly some cleanups to do around these longs, aggressive longs right here. So we'll keep an eye on that. But as per the heat map over here, there's not a whole lot of bidders, right? Not a whole lot of buying or selling in terms of limit orders, at least visible limit orders. So it's not always necessary that they have to be visible, because there's an optionality to have them be hidden, but let's check out Coinbase as well. Okay. Coinbase over here. All right. So we have some decent walls around 18,500 and then also around 18,000 flat. Possible that we fill one or both of these, but we also remember up here we have some big sellers now stepping up to the plate and driving their asks lower. So meaning this is putting that pressure on the price. So it's possible, unless these get lifted and we see big walls stepping up right here, possible that we do have that one more leg down, like I was saying. And let's check out Phoenix for the last thing right here. So here's Phoenix. This is interesting because we do see some obvious buying activity. Not a whole lot of aggressive longs to the downside, and decent selling right at the bottom. So that's not bad either. So maybe BitMEX is like the one exchange that we need to just clean that up. Maybe just one more spike down. So if I am looking for one more spike down, I'm looking for 18,000 800, maybe 18,000, 500 at the most, and then hopefully this thing prints something like a bottom down here, and then we start, pushing our way up and out. Okay. Not completely interested in longing here yet, due to the many reasons why I've stated before over the videos that I've made, which is, the structure needs to kind of prove itself above specific levels. And, once more, this structure is proving to me that maybe there's a bit more consolidation left. Maybe there's more chop. Who knows? We might, come down to one or all of these trend lines. I've stated this before, right? If y'all look right here, I said we had a whole lot of whale exchange and whale movement of Bitcoin to exchanges, and that is generally the time where bigger whales in the market start selling some of their Bitcoin, and that kind of helps Bitcoin create a larger range, big chop potential, maybe even a deeper sell-off. I don't really know. But I do believe that somewhere around here, there's a little bit more chop to be done. And that could mean that we hit one of these trend lines or all of them, on the way down over the next coming weeks. Not necessary, but it's possible. And the other way I'm kind of looking at this as I'm doing the analysis is it's very possible that, let's mark this out in a different color. Okay, so it's very possible that, maybe this is a, let's see, B, C, D, E. So it's probably something like this that's playing out, right? So it's possible that this is a continuation triangle, an Elliott wave triangle. So, we may have had a mini, like one, whoops, not a ABC, but a 2, 3. Within the 3, we might have, well, no, that doesn't make any sense. So we could be, okay, let me draw out the ABCDE triangle for now, and then I can figure out the count, because, so this is possibly, maybe an A wave is down here. This is a B. This could be a C, but we could also, put up a C like somewhere a little bit deeper. So let's just say it's right here, D and E. And generally what you're looking for out of these triangles is a breakout outside of this trend line right here. When we get that breakout, then we can just say, what is the measured move? And from this high to this low, let's just say we get the breakout, I don't know, maybe today, tomorrow, right? The breakout puts us around $20,900. So if we break out tomorrow, not tomorrow, sorry, December 8th at 7 or 8 a.m. or something, that gives us a general target of 20,900. But once more, that's the bullish way of looking at it. Okay. I don't really know if the only way is the bullish way right now due to this potential triangle, because the other potential is that, we had this and this all right above this key SR level, which is 19,287. Price failed to hold us up, and even a third time right here. And now we're getting, a lower high. So it's possible that we have a deeper retracement to the downside, maybe even coming back to these weekly opens around 18,200, 18,500. And we also have the pivot down here, which is around 18,000 flat, basically. So there's sort of numerous areas of support that we could be looking out for. And it's not necessary that we have to bounce from here, nor is it necessary that we have to do it today. Going into the weekend time, I've always stated that generally this is all chop. Like weekend time, Saturdays, it's just all garbage movement. And in that garbage movement, a lot of wonky stuff can happen. And to sort of generally stay away from that, you know, it's usually the best thing for your money and your capital. And so I don't know exactly if Saturday is going to be the time where we roll over and potentially create a higher low over here, because I still don't believe that this area right here, okay, the way it took off, there's so many untested levels like in between here, you know. So let's dig down to the 15-minute chart, right? Like here is that low. For example, there's this untested low right here, okay? This area right here, this big chunk, you know, that's 17,700, okay? The retest of this triangle could also be stated as a potential untested level, which is 17,450. Now, you know, you can obviously make the argument and say, well, Amal, what about, you know, 1, 2, 3, and then this being the retest? Yeah, it's possible. But, you know, if you have just, say, a gap or a void right here, that might be an area that could require some cleanup, you know, maybe of high leverage long positions, or I don't really know what you can classify as a reasoning to clean that area up. But the way we look at it from a technical standpoint is, you know, just it's kind of just like having a gap, right? Like an untested, you know, slightly wide gap. And so when you have these gaps, sometimes they get cleaned up. Not really necessary that they have to get cleaned up, but you know, when you have just such a void, it's one of the reasonings you could, you know, tag onto it and say that could be the reason why it could get cleaned up. Okay. If you guys want to do the due diligence of looking in this area and figuring out if there's, you know, 100x longs or something, you know, high leverage longs, you know, be my guest. But anyway, so the other reason, you know, so I gave y'all the bullish scenario, which is that triangle, right? And that's obviously that's a much more local bullish reasoning. Now the other bullish reasoning is, look at this. What does that tell you? You know, from September to December now, we have been trending up pretty strongly, and there's really nothing that has damaged this trend. We are above, if you put on the 20 moving average and the 21 EMA on the daily basis, we're above both. So we haven't really damaged that part of the cycle. If you guys remember, the 20 moving average and the 21 EMA generally keep us supported if we are, you know, moving to the upside in a bullish trend. So, you know, obviously we have not broken below that. That's a good sign. From the pivot standpoint too, we can make the argument that we're well above the pivot right now. And so if we're above the pivot, I mean, it's possible that maybe we even get a retest at the pivot, which is around $17,600. If we get that hold right there, we could be heading towards the R1, which is around $21,980, or let's just say 22,000, right? So many different ways you can sort of map out, you know, this information. The other way we can start throwing on and utilizing VWAP, so again, volume weighted average price, is you just tag on, let's just say the weekly for now, right? And where is the VWAP on a weekly basis? Well, it's right there around $19,100. Price is below that VWAP right now. What about the monthly VWAP? Okay, monthly VWAP is also right around that 19,125 area. So price being below both these VWAPs should tell you that, at least for now, you know, there's some repair to be done. Not necessary that we have to break down completely, but it's something that we got to fix from a technical standpoint. Okay, because generally when you start breaching the VWAP, you start, you know, unable to close above key levels like 19,287, which is this 2017 high marker, or 18,985. You know, there's just some wonky movements going on, and it just means that just hang tight. You know, hang tight till we figure out more information or get more clarity. Okay. Now, the other side is the way Bitcoin is sort of reflecting in other assets, which is something like ETH. Now, ETH to me is and still has a very, very nice looking, cup and handle kind of thing going on. And so with this cup and handle, in my opinion, this looks like a better structure of a nice bullish pattern than, say, the BTC pattern right here, which is a little bit tilted. It has, weird stuff going on, like lower highs right here. But nonetheless, it's not terribly off. Like I explained to you, that triangle of, it's possible that we get a continuation triangle out of this D, E. Oops, let me pull this D down, this E right here, and we start, breaking up and out of here. And that consolidation might come to an end December 6th. So that's Sunday. That would be great because, Sundays are generally where CME traders come back to the market after the weekend. Okay. Now going to the OBV. Okay, so this is where things get interesting. All right. I talked about this before. I stated that there is definitely something to be paying attention to, an area of caution, at least, where this area around 16,200 was able to create this low, yet this area up here, these two, let's dig into that a little bit more, right? These two were able to then create lower lows on the OPV, as you can see. See, that paranoids me a little bit because you don't really want that, especially way the heck up here. Now, it's possible that you could say, well, what about this area where, or let's just say this area where we put in a low right here, a low right there, and then we went for a higher low and then a lower low right there in OBV. That's a fair assessment, all right? But when we were going on the way up, there was channels, there were trend lines that we had created on the upside where price was allowed to just be guided to the upside. And this also, was a huge amount of consolidation right here, right? So there could have been a lot of selling activity. And remember, OBV is nothing but, the net buying versus net selling. And so right now what this is telling you is there is a lot of net selling and not a whole lot of net buying. Okay, or just you could say there's a lot of, or a lack of net buying. Okay, not a bad thing. Like this is not a, all right, the OBV is putting in a lower low, that's it. It just means caution. A lot of these indicators, folks, you guys know very well, there's not a single indicator on the planet that's just, this is a top, this is a bottom. We're going to break up, we're going to break down. It's just not possible. Okay. There's too many different factors in the market, too many different actors in the market to sort of sway those indicators one way or another. Anything can happen any which minute or day or hour, So anyway, so that was an area of caution on OPV. Now, across the board, right? So we're now looking at funding being a little bit more flat. And this makes me feel a bit more comfortable because remember, funding rates, positive funding rates are longs paying shorts. Now, negative funding rate is the only one right here is FTX. Okay. But across the board, you've noticed it's gotten much, much lower, right? So this should tell you that, okay, longs are not as aggressive anymore. Shorts might actually be stepping up to the plate in this area. So shorts are stepping up to the plate. What you really, really want, in my opinion, is if you chop around this area, let's just say you create a big range. Let's say price keeps bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. And in this area, we may come to this trend line right here. And in this area that I just showed you, as price bleeds, let's just say funding flips negative across the board. But guess what? In a structurally, like we're still higher lows. Yet the bears are actually betting on this thing potentially breaking deeper. So what you want in funding wise is you want a negative funding as price bleeds further and further and longs get accumulated, and then price starts pushing up and up and up, and funding doesn't get positive until you start breaking out of like 20,000 or 21,000 or something like that. That's the most painful way for shorts to keep holding on to their position because they were getting paid in funding, right? But then the funding flipped and then price kept going up. So they're underwater because not only is the position moving against them, the price is moving against them, but now they have to pay funding to hold on to a losing position. And so they're going to want to let go of those positions. And then that will further accelerate price to the upside because they're going to have to cover their shorts. Okay. So that, in my opinion, is the best way the market could keep being driven down. But once it keeps getting driven down, that big consolidation could flip funding, get shorts positioned to, one side, make them bet against the longs, and then price kind of turns around, I don't know, in a couple days, a week or something, and then we start blasting up. That is, in my opinion, the best way to go about pushing price up. Daily basis, I already spoke about this yesterday. Once more, I thought it was pretty bullish that price closed above 19,188, but I stated that it would have been even way more bullish if price blasted up through 19,450 right here and stayed above. So, once again, we tagged 19,450, boom, rolled over, right? So sellers still, active in this area, but I don't think that they're that strong. If they were, like, we would have come back, after this big sell-off, come back, maybe a lower high, or even this top right here, we should just boom, sold off. But it's also possible that maybe sellers are creating a range, and this is a range of distribution. There's many which ways, folks, that you could look at this market. I really don't think that you can just say, this is the top and we have to go down. It's just a little too early. All right. There's some questions in the traditional alts channel about ETH having a pretty big wick on Bybit. I don't really know what happened. I don't really trade ETH on Bybit, but here's Ben Bybit. He explained some of the technicals that they're working with. It doesn't really mean anything. Honestly, it just means that there's a big seller taking advantage of lesser liquidity on one exchange. That's literally it. And that seller happened to see that, if he or she pulls some of their bids that were supporting price and just dumps a whole lot of ETH, what they could do is inflict some pain on liquidations all the way down and clean up some of these areas. But it's not like a fortune telling of ETH has to go down. It just means, all right, well, it went down on this specific exchange and that's it. Because of the lack of liquidity. Okay. Now the purpose or intention behind it is really unknown. Why would such a big seller come towards price? Who knows? Maybe they had a short position on and they just were able to destroy orders on the way down, and maybe they had some bids set right here, so they collect everybody who is selling on the way down, somewhere down here, somewhere up here. So now you are basically back up to 607, or what's priced right now, 591. So you just collected all that profit by destroying that price. Okay. So yeah, let me see here. So let's go to the trend maker and swing alerts, right? So let's check out our indicators. These are the indicators that Harry has built. On the 4-hour basis, we do see that price is right now hitting this trend maker ribbon. Okay. It has been supporting price once, twice, now 3 times over the last week. Pretty good sign, in my opinion. Now, daily basis, though, daily gets a little bit more interesting because that trend maker ribbon is way the heck down here around 16,000. Not necessary that we have to go down there, but if you're kind of looking at this just as a area of big support, where is the biggest support? Well, it's down here. You know, I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna get down here, and even if it does, like I think it'll be very complicated. I think it's gonna trade in a range for a little bit, like spike up, down, like that, something. Who knows? Maybe in like a 2 weeks or a month or something. I doubt we just teleport straight down. Okay. A 6-hour basis, all right. Also an interesting area, right? Because we're pretty darn close to the trend maker ribbon, even on the 6-hour. So if you want to be buying on the 6-hour basis, the ribbon is right there around 18,550. Okay, so if you want to be a buyer, that's kind of the area you want to be buying. Okay. Let's check out the Shepherd. Let me turn this thing off. UV. Shepherd not really giving you anything. Maybe this is like your, bearish cross on this RSI, bearish divergence based indicator, but nothing special. Let's check out 8-hour. Oh yeah, so this is, also interesting on the 8-hour. If you're looking for a bounce in the 8-hour, that's somewhere around 18,400. Okay, 8-hour candles look kind of bad, like bigger candles after bigger candles. So, sometimes I look at all the different candles across the board, like time frames. I'll look at the 6, 8, 12-hour. I'll look at the 2 or 3 day chart. So let's go through all of those, right? 12-hour actually catching nice support on the blue ribbon right here. So the aqua one right there, good sign. Okay, but again, that's a pretty bearish 12-hour candle, Let's see here. Let's check out the daily. So daily, I've said this before on the Shepherd, this is already flipped bearish. We flipped this as a bearish sign because we were coming out of this overbought territory with multiple bearish divergences and this, blue T right here indicating a top. Okay. Now it's not like a God indicator where it literally says top and we just go straight down. It just means like it's a temporary top. Okay. Let's check out 2-day. Okay, 2-day looks, kind of ugly, of course. Makes sense. All right. 3-day. 3-day not looking that great either. Big wicks to the upside, indicating sell pressure. 3-day over here, as you can see, has maybe a little bit more room to the upside. Who knows? This aqua line could maybe come back into this area and then start popping up a little bit more. So that may imply that on a 3-day basis, price may have more room to go to the upside. Again, this is how you would be looking at different time frames. Okay, 5-day basis. We have 2 more days in the 5-day, right? So basically on Sunday, this closes out. It's okay, nothing really special. I don't really think 5 days that useful, to be honest, right now. We do have this hanging man and then this kind of somewhat bullish candle, but again, decent wick to the upside. Okay. ETH, I've already spoken about, I got into a long somewhere around 615. I will probably decide to add on this because I still do like ETH and its structure, unless like something drastically changes and ETH just starts randomly looking like crap. I don't think I'm going to change my structural bias on ETH because it still does look pretty solid in terms of a big cup and handle. Check out Link. Link once again broke below the pivot. Honestly, I think I'm happy about selling my Link at a slight loss. I sold around like 1370 something. So that was like a 4% loss, and I'm okay with that. Right now, I get to have some capital on the side, fresh, ready to deploy. The other positions I have in the market, which I'm kind of not liking right now is Wi-Fi. I'm pretty close to my stop now. Is it 26,900? I think is my stop exact. Yeah, so you can see right here, 26,900. What do we put in a low of right here? Yeah, low was 27,102. So see, this is where I should have been paying attention to Wi-Fi. I unfortunately forgot to set alerts, but now I'm like a little annoyed that when we started breaching back inside this area, I told y'all that this would be the area that I'd want to get out if we start closing back inside. But I totally forgot, focused on ETH and other assets, and totally spaced out on um, Wi-Fi. So now I just have to kind of suck it up, either I get stopped or price bails me out, which I hate. I hate relying on price to bail me out because it rarely works out. But now I'm once again below this R1 level. It's even possible that we may make our way the hell down here around 26,000, maybe 25.6, somewhere around that area. So of course I'll be stopped out, but I might have another opportunity to jump back in. We'll see. There's many different things going on in the DeFi space, and I still do believe that the rotation trade, I think in DeFi, is probably the better trade out there. Like your Wi-Fi's and your Aves and Cream and all these different ones. If BTC chops around here, I'd probably be looking to these coins, to build a position on. But again, non-investment advice, just something to focus on. Okay. Let me see here. Fear and greed. Sweet. All right. So we got a little bit calming in the greed. So that's not too bad. All right, folks. Well, I think I pretty much covered everything. Let me see. There's a 178 bid right here on Finex for buyers, right around 18,860. So keep an eye on that. All right. But yeah, that's it. I think I've covered everything. I hope y'all enjoy this content, and I'll catch up with you soon. All right. Cheers.